All right, good morning. Thanks everyone for showing up. First session of the day. I hope you're all excited for the rest of the day as well. So I'm Ari, and I'm a product manager at Datadog. And I want to talk to you today a bit about how we achieve FedRAMP ATO, and how we're going to pursue a bit more, and how we leverage our platform in order to do that. So what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to explain to you a bit about what Datadog is from a higher level perspective, and then we're going to look in some basic NIST use cases and advanced NIST use cases. So NIST is a National Institute of Standards, and it has put together the controls that compose the baselines for FISMA and FedRAMP, which are frameworks that companies need in order to work with public sector or public sector needs in order to serve their internal stakeholders. So, starting with Datadog. So Datadog is an observability and security platform. It collects data from multiple data sources and provides some platform capabilities, mostly around analytics and alerting, which allows customers to meet a variety of use cases. So in monitoring their infrastructures or applications and security. And all of this is provided through a single pane of glass. So that ability to see everything in one application helps organizations break down the silos between their development teams, ops teams, security teams, and additional business stakeholders. One of the coolest things about Datadog is the amount of integrations that it supports. So from cloud-native technologies to more legacy on-prem technologies, all of those data points can be aggregated within Datadog to give full visibility of your environment. So now I want to talk a little bit about Datadog FedRAMP program. So have any of you ever gotten asked about getting a FedRAMP or a FISMA ATO? Because for Datadog, that happened from some of our customers around 2 years ago. Some of them in public sector, and some of them are partners working with the public sector. And they asked Datadog to come and meet those compliance standards in order for them to keep working with us. So that's when we launched our first program, which was the low-impact SaaS for infrastructure monitoring product. That allowed us to try and meet some of the federal requirements, but not all of them, as the low impact requires a lot less than moderate. So it helped us organizationally align towards getting to the second step, which is the FedRAMP moderate on AWS GovCloud. And we decided to partner with AWS here because we saw the amount of services that are being offered at a FedRAMP moderate level, and the thought behind a specific GovCloud region where they have US persons operating there, and which also allowed us to meet additional agency-specific security controls that some of our customers wanted. Another thing that we found very valuable in partnering with AWS was the Nitro instances, which have increased security capabilities, more specifically around encryption, that helped us serve those customers in a better way. So now I want to talk a bit about how we leverage our own platform in order to meet the FedRAMP controls, because when we walk through the process, we notice how many of those controls are inherently met by our platform. And we wanted to communicate those to customers as well as they are going through FedRAMP or FISMA ATO processes. So the basic use case is system information integrity. So this is a control family within NIST that focuses on making sure that systems are working appropriately and nothing has been compromised by a malicious actor. Second is incident response. So as many organizations know, incidents and security incidents happen, and every organization needs to make sure they're ready to address those when they do. And last use case is audit and accountability. So that is mostly focused around logs, and specifically audit logs. Those are the data sources that allows investigators to tie back actions in order to conduct the investigation and understand what had happened and exactly which accounts have been compromised or what activities have taken place in order to execute malicious activities. So for system information integrity, Datadog platform provides detection and alerting. As we look at all those different data sources, we're able to run analytics on them and recognize suspicious behavior. Event analysis. So looking at specific events and logs for specific indicators of compromise in an automated fashion allows security teams to operate quicker while analyzing the events in a comprehensive manner. And the last point is correlating different sources. So this is extremely important as we're using at Datadog, and many other organizations are using a variety of tools. And a compromise might happen where one tool is compromised and that's being leveraged to escalate privileges across to other tools and data sources within organizations. So having that comprehensive visibility across all the different tools that are being used in the organization is extremely important. And that's why we have the Datadog Security Monitoring, which is a Datadog SIEM product. And there are two guiding principles to this product where we're thinking of what we need to add there or put there. And first is that to make things extremely actionable and reduce noise. And the second is to get value to customers as fast as possible. So we're looking at the number of logs analyzed. So we have about over 15 terabytes of data, which is a vast amount. From that, we've generated about 4,500 security signals. So these are based on security rules that either an analyst in the organization have written or are provided automatically by Datadog and are curated by expert professionals. And from these, we have only 600 threats that are being detected. So the idea is to really allow teams to hone in on the things that are important and only investigate the specific threats that are of importance to them. So the cool things about here is that, as I mentioned, we have 450 integrations, so it allows a lot of out-of-the-box support to support whatever tech stack a customer is working with. And then we have curated rules that are provided by our security professionals. So as organizations adopt new technologies, there are rules that are already available to detect threats across these. And lastly, real-time detection, and it is optimized for a very large queries. So it doesn't take your team a lot of time when investigating, and they would need to triage some technical stack issue when running a big query. It is already supported by Datadog. So talking a bit about incident response. So as I mentioned, we want our alerts to be highly actionable, and we focus on a small number of alerts, and we allow also customers to enrich those events to get additional data, and we also provide enrichment by Datadog in some cases. An example would be threat intelligence that Datadog provides, and we partner with other organizations to recognize malicious IP addresses and alert customers when we see activities from those IP addresses. And lastly is the collaboration tools that we are integrating with allows incident responders to adopt Datadog within their existing process. So no matter the collaboration tool that is currently being used for incident response, Datadog will meet you there. So I want to go specifically look at a specific alert so we can get context about what an alert is. And when we look at this one, this is an alert about a user that logged in from an IP that is on the threat intelligence list. So if you look at the alert, you would see some of the things that we show. So for example, where this alert is being collected from. So it's been collected from Okta, which is the IDP of that organization. And you can see more context, like the actual IP and the username. Those have been blurred out due to PII reasons. And what you also would see here is the event that is an authentication event, and it ended successfully. So that means we have a successful authentication from an IP we had recognized that potentially could be malicious. So, and what is cool here is that also there's a message within it. So the incident responders could understand what is the goal of this alert, what's the strategy we're trying to discover, and what would be the appropriate next step. They contact the person and try to understand if it is a malicious activity or is it not. And audit and accountability. So this is about collecting audit logs. We also allow to archive those logs for longer term storage, so we don't have to have them in the Datadog platform at all times. And very important is the ability to tie it back to an account and activity. So you would need to tie a specific activity to specific accounts to make sure you understand which user had taken the action. And the way that we look at it from a high-level perspective is that Datadog enriches and parse different data sources and logs, and those would be shown in the platform in a live view. Those would go through detection rules to detect malicious activities. You could generate metrics to understand better high-level performance of those processes. And we retain some of the data within indexes, so you could investigate immediately. And also, it is archived in an archive, for example, an S3 bucket, so that you could later on rehydrate it if needed and investigate on it, but you don't have to keep it within the platform in order to optimize the number of indexes that you retain. And another really great thing is that we integrate with AWS CloudTrail. And that allows us to give all the audit logs from CloudTrail for the different AWS services. And this is an out-of-the-box dashboard that Datadog provides. So you get the value just when getting Datadog and installing the AWS integration. This is already available for your teams. And again, within CloudTrail, this is, you would see all the different AWS services that are being used and the users using them. Some of them is blurred right now for privacy reasons. Okay, so I would have wanted to dive into like some more advanced use cases, but I don't think we have the time for that. So I just want to thank you again for showing up, and I hope that helped you understand a bit better what is needed in order to get an ATO for FISMA or FedRAMP. And if you want to discuss more, you're welcome to come to the Datadog booth. It's 4:15. And again, thank you all and enjoy the rest of your day.